Okay. So today we're going to be tying some flies that I like to use during ice off. This is mostly going to be some balanced leeches. If I have time, I might tie up some chronomids too. But right now, we're going to do a black balanced leech. If you watch my last stream, this is the same fly that I was redoing, but I'm just tying some new ones on a fresh hook. But what we're going to do is we'll take some of these beads right here. Not beads, but some of these pins. And this is what we're actually using to extend the fly. And then we're going to take some clippers. And then we're just going to take this pin right here. And we're basically just going to clip it. So I'll size it up to about right there. And then I cover it with my hand so I don't lose the pin. And I clip that off. And then take that sharp part and put it somewhere you won't lose it, because you do not want to step on one of those. Okay. Next we'll take our beads. We're going to add on a bead. Actually, I'm going to do a bigger bead. Let's adjust this camera a little bit. Uh-oh, did we freeze? Alright, give me 1 sec. What happened? Sorry guys, I had my camera go out. Okay. Should be rolling here again in a second. There we go. Okay. Alright, and we're back. Now where did I put that pin? There we go. Then we're going to lay that on about right here. Wrap the thread forward a bit. And we're just going to tie that in. I tied in pretty loosely because we've got to actually size that up so it balances well. We don't want that to be flying all over the place. Okay, so right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unhook this off the vise. And I'm going to take a piece of thread and thread it through the eye of the hook. And this is just to make sure that it's balanced and lays flat. Okay, so you can see that's kind of pointing down a little bit. So I might push that bead in just a tad. We'll see how that does. Okay. That's looking pretty close. We'll call that good right there. So now I'm just going to reclamp that into the vise. How's it going, Walter? Thanks for tuning in. So now we got that right there. We're just going to tighten that sucker down so it doesn't go anywhere. Okay. Alright, now what we're going to do, we're going to add in our marabou. So So we're going to find a nice fluffy piece. Let's see, probably not that piece, that's kind of falling apart. Alright, there should be good. I like to pluck out the stem just so you get a lot of fibers that are nice and loose. Get lots of movement in the water. And then pull out any extras we don't need. Actually might make that just a little bit thinner. Okay, that should be good right there. So we're going to tie it in about the length of the hook. Maybe just a tad longer. About right there. Do one loose wrap over, another loose wrap, tighten that down. I'm going to tie it right up to where I put in that little pin. We'll snip that. So I tie this fly for mostly trout. To answer your question, Alex, I use this fly on lakes. It's a really good still water fly. It's called a balanced leech. So this fly is made to actually hang upside down like that. And then as you put it under an indicator and you twitch that indicator, it's going to wiggle that leech. And it gets a really lifelike movement out of it. Okay, now we're going to add in our dubbing. So we're just going to be putting some of that stuff on there. First, what I'm going to do though is I'm going to split the thread. And we'll get like a nice thin little dubbing loop going on. This part's always a little tricky with this thin of a... Okay. Almost got it. There we go. And then for this fly, I keep it really, really thin. I might have to take my jacket off here in a second. It's getting hot in my room. And the goal is we're just keeping that nice and thin on those wraps. If you guys have any questions too, let me know in the comments. Makes it a lot more fun tying flies when got people to chat with. That's why I like doing these live streams. Fun meeting people. Okay. Now I'm just going to twist that together. And that's going to start wrapping up those fibers. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate it. Okay. Time to start wrapping that. Looks like I came up a little bit short on it. So we'll just repeat that process again. Tie a little knot in there so it doesn't unravel itself. No, Randall, this is actually a fly for fly fishing. This is what a balanced leech. That's what I like to use on still water. So like lakes and stuff, ponds. Just looks like a leech, hangs upside down. Works pretty good. Let's see if I can find a different tool. There we go. My whip finish tool splits this a little bit better. It's kind of a pain sometimes splitting it. You know what we'll use? We'll use the point of a hook off a fly I tied the other day. And I could not get this thing. There we go. I kind of got it. Problem is I just twisted up the thread, so it's really hard to get in there. Okay. We got it. So we'll just take that dubbing again. We're just going to wrap it up. Now we're just keeping it really, really thin on this dubbing. You don't want this pattern too bulky. If you guys are wondering about the gear I'm using for tying these flies, I've got a link to everything down below. And if the link didn't work with the live stream, just check out some of the fly tying videos I have on my channel. And the same links will be in the description on those. Okay, that should be enough right there. Then we'll just twist it up. Actually, I might zoom out this, hey babe, what's up? I'm gonna zoom this out a little bit so you guys can see it a little better. There we go, that's a bit better. Okay, then we'll just keep wrapping to the front. And kind of go back and forth over the eye of that hook. That should be good right there. So we'll kind of pull out any excess. And then we're going to take our whip finish tool and we'll just whip finish that fly. And then one thing I like to do before I finish the fly is take some Velcro to it and a little bit of UV glue. So what we're going to do is we'll put some of this glue on. Where did I put that? There it is. So I'll put some of this glue right here. This stuff only dries when you hit it with a UV light. So it's pretty handy. It allows you to kind of let that glue sink into the thread and then just dries instantly. We'll cure it. Okay. Next I'm going to take some Velcro and I'm going to use it to fluff up the fly. We'll just kind of run that through, make it look nice and puffy. And we'll pull that back just a little bit. That way you guys can get a better view on it. So there we have it. A balanced leech. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to tie pretty much the same one, but we're going to tie a mini version. And this is one that I've actually been fishing with for a little bit, and it's kind of falling apart. You can see how crappy that fly looks. Actually, before I do that real quick, I'm just going to take my jacket off. It's getting a little hot in here. Alright, that's better. My computer's heating up my room. Okay, so that's a little bent, so we're going to turn that hook sideways, and we're just going to bend that back to straight. Okay, that should be good right there. Maybe a little bit more. Okay. We'll start with that. We're going to take a razor blade to it now and cut off all that excess material. Where did I put that razor blade? Here we go. So now we're just going to tear this fly up. Okay, got that bead off. You can actually see how that bead's kind of falling apart. All the orange paint's chipping off of it. The reason I like these orange beads is it looks like a leech carrying an egg. And also it helps just those fish kind of see that fly. I've had a lot of luck on these balanced leeches when I use orange beads, so that's what I tie most of my leeches with. Okay, there we go. Now let's fix this fly back up. Make it good as new again. So we'll start by wrapping our thread, starting in the middle, working our way back. And if you guys want to see the vise I'm tying on, I've actually got another one right here. So this is the Nirvana V2 rotary vise. If you guys want to check it out, I'll have a link in the description. I've got a review video on my channel as well about that vise, but for the price of it, it's definitely one of the best vices out there. And it's a lot cheaper than those Renzetti vices. Okay, now we're going to add on our bead, and we're going to take a new bead so it's a little bit not so banged up. I just keep all my beads in this little thing right here. And then we're going to take the bead and we're going to put it on this pin. Just like that. We'll lay it on the fly. And then we'll loose wrap it. And then we'll work our way back. Now if you guys are just barely tuning in, I'm using these pins right here. See if I can get them in focus. I'll pull one out. These are just the same pins you can get at Hobby Lobby or any craft store that you use for knitting. But you just basically take some pliers. I use these guys right here, and you just snip it off to the length you need, add a pin on it, and it allows you to extend your hook on a balanced hook. And then it creates a fly that will ride up like this, and when you twitch that under an indicator, it looks really good to trout. Okay, so now we're going to put a little knot in there so it kind of holds our spot. We've got it tied on pretty loose. Now I've got to take this off, and I've actually got to make sure this fly is balanced right. So we'll take another piece of thread, and we're just going to make sure it hangs upright and doesn't pull one way or the other. Now I got to fix something real quick on the live stream. It's interesting. Okay. Alright, and we're back. So we're going to make sure this is balanced. And it's a knot. So we'll just push that in a little bit. Try again, see if that's balanced. Okay, that's a little bit better, but we went a little bit too far forward. So we're going to work it back a tad. Okay, we'll go in a tad. Okay, that's right where we want it. So we'll undo that second thread, and we're going to tie that in. These flies in the water, they lay upside down like this. So we want to make sure they're vertical and they're not sagging one way or the other. So now I'm just going to crank that in with some tight wraps, making sure it don't go nowhere. Okay. Time to add in our marabou. If you guys have any comments too, let me know in the place a comment and ask any questions. I am open to answering. If you guys like this stuff too, check out my channel. I do a lot of fly fishing content. We do a lot of road trips where I make these fly fishing films as we travel all over chasing trout. Been meaning to do some bass videos. I think it'd be cool to do a bass video on the fly. But yeah. We did a pretty cool bull trout fishing trip last summer. Got into a really nice bull trout up in Idaho. Okay. Make that just a tad longer than the length of the hook. And we'll tie that in right there. Now we're just going to snip it. We might add one more piece in there just to make it a little bit bigger. Now this leech right here is a micro leech. I hands down catch more fish on this fly than any other of my stillwater flies. I don't know why they like the micro leeches so much. I think maybe in just most lakes, leeches are a lot smaller. In fly shops, whenever you go buy a leech pattern, they're always so big. And I fish a big one up top and then usually a little one on bottom, and I'll even mix it up. And the small leeches always catch more. Okay. Yeah, snip that off right there. Time to split it again. So we're just right now splitting the line so we can add our dubbing in between. So we're doing the little dubbing loop. And then we'll take our dubbing. We're using this black stuff right here. This is Arizona dub. And we're just adding really thin amounts of it. Doesn't take a lot. Should be good right there. Then we're just going to twist it. So we're just letting that thing spin. And that's what it's doing, is it's wrapping up the thread and it's going to tighten down on that dubbing and then give that little spin to that dubbing to make it nice and twisted. There it is. Then we're just going to tie that in. We're going to wrap it from the back. And we'll just work our way all the way to the front of the hook. Might wrap it a couple more times around the eye. There we go. Okay, now we'll just whip finish. And we'll snip it. we're going to add in a little bit of UV glue. And then we'll hit it with the UV light. Now this glue right here I'm using, if you guys are just tuning in, it's really cool because it dries the second it hits with the UV light. Okay, now we'll just hit it with some Velcro. Get underneath. There we go. There's a micro leech. Not the prettiest fly, but man, does it work well. You can see how the eye of the hook's just right there on the bottom. Alright, what should we tie next? Let's take a look, see what we got. I think what we'll do is we'll tie up some midge patterns. Get some chronomids going. So the hooks I'm using for this, these are the Moonlit Togata hooks. I used it for the other fly as well. These hooks are awesome. I picked these up off Moonlit's website, and if you guys check out my full videos, I've got a discount link in below. These are pretty much the only hooks I use these days. They're razor sharp. They work really well. And if you guys use that link, it'll save you about 15% off at checkout. Okay. Then this fly is going to be a little bit smaller, so I'll scoot the camera in a little bit closer. It's going to go blurry for just a second. Okay. All right. Shift my light around. All right, we're gonna use some black thread for this fly. And then we'll use some silver wire as well. Actually, maybe we'll use some red wire. I think we'll use some red. Then let's add a white cone bead to it. It's just to help that kind of sink. Where did I put my cone beads? There you go. So we're gonna add in some of these white cones right, where'd they go? Right there. Kind of hard to see them. Okay. Start at the front. We'll just work our thread to the back. Snip off the excess. And then I got the red wire right here that will tie in. Now this is a very simple fly. This is just a little midge pattern. I think they call it a snow cone if I remember right. But right now I'm just going to kind of build the body up so it tapers. Tie a little knot in there. Hold that down. And we'll get our thread out of the way. And I haven't seen anyone comment in the chat in a while. If anyone wants to ask any questions or anything, I am watching the comment section. Do a little tighter wraps than that. And we'll snip that thread. And then we'll just finish this fly by adding some UV glue to it. We're pretty much going to coat that whole fly. Then we'll just kind of let that glue soak into that thread. You might work it around a little bit. Okay. And we're going to hit it with a UV light. Hey, that's awesome, Gus. Fly tying is definitely fun. I started when I was in about junior high, and I actually got a fly tying kit before I actually owned a fly rod. Okay, there we go. Little, I believe it's called a snow cone midge. But yeah, this is a good fly for lakes. Just grabbing some more hooks real quick. put those? There they are. We're going to use one of these curved hooks. Nope, that's not the right hook. Don't know why that was in that package. Put that up here. Let's see. Yeah, saltwater fishing's a lot of fun. And if you're asking how hard fly tying is, it's not too bad. Okay, this is going to be just a pretty simple midge that I'm going to tie right here. This will be a zebra midge. Guess we'll make sure that's in focus. If you guys want to get into fly tying, check out my channel. Got a ton of videos on tying flies. I mostly do fly tying videos during the winter, just because I don't get out and fish very much. And then during the summer, or like spring, fall, summer, when I do a lot of fishing, that's when I do more of like my my adventure film videos. We get out and do a lot of cool trips to some pretty amazing places and go target some trout, and hopefully soon do some bass fishing. I'm really excited for it to start warming up. I'm getting sick of the cold. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a nice piece of wire. So now I'll just tie the wire in. And then we're going to work our way to the front. I might add a little bit of bulk to the body. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Subscribing helps out this channel a lot. My goal is to get to 10,000 before the end of the year. It's my 2025 goal. Okay. Should be good right there. Tie a little overhand knot in there. Nope. Alright. Oh man, catching a mahi on a fly rod would be a dream come true. I did catch a tarpon. We went on a cruise and I took my fly rod with me. And I booked a guided trip at one of the stops and caught a tarpon. And that was one of the biggest fish I think I've ever caught in a fly rod. That was a lot of fun. Okay. Back wrap a little bit on that. Now I'm going to get some flash real quick. This is the flash I use. This is a whole bunch of hair tinsel I bought off Amazon. This is what girls use to put in their hair. A lot cheaper. You can buy it for like 13 bucks, I think, and it's just way cheaper than buying it at a fly shop. I think I'll add in some of this gold stuff. Just keep it in the bag if you guys do it, because I took it out of the bag and it gets tangled really fast. So we're going to tie this into the top. And then we're going to grab some peacock herl. Hockey is life. If you like fishing, then I think you'll enjoy fly tying a lot, because it's kind of like a arts and crafts project, but you get to take it out and test it out. So some of like my favorite time is just when I'm not really tying an exact pattern, but just kind of like freestyle on it, and then take it out in the river and see if it'll catch a fish. That's a lot of fun to do. And it's nice if you like fishing, especially fly fishing, and you got nothing to do in the winter, then I think you guys will enjoy fly fishing or fly tying a lot. But if you haven't got into fly fishing yet, it's really fun. I love fly fishing. I grew up normal fishing most of my life, and then around 13 years old I started trying fly fishing, and I had a lot of fun with it. And I didn't really catch a lot of fish at the start, so I'd take both rods with me to the lake. And then at one point I started getting decent at fly fishing, that I didn't really need my normal rod, so I stopped bringing it, and haven't really normal fished in a while now, unless I go do like a really big lake or something from a boat. Oh, that slipped off. I'm going to angle the fly up a little bit. Yeah, making my own lures would be fun, but just don't normal fish enough to do that, so I mostly just tie flies. But it's a really good time. It's a lot more rewarding too to catch a fish on a fly you tied than just a fly you bought at the store. Okay, then we'll fold over our flash. We'll tie that in right on top. And then we're just going to hit that with that whip finish tool. And then I should have kept those two strands a little closer together. That's okay. Now I'm just putting some UV glue on the fly. Just kind of helps it stay together. And then we'll cure it. So normally you can see how those two pieces of reflective tinsel I put on there, they're not quite together. You guys tie this fly, just keep those together. I got a lot of bright lights in my face. I didn't see that. It's kind of hard to tie when you got a camera and all these lights going on. But yeah, there's a nice little midge pattern, and that should catch a fish. Alright, let's see what our battery's at. 41%. Man, we can keep tying for a lot longer. What fly to tie next? I need some more of those leeches, so I'm going to tie another leech pattern. Plus, there's probably some new people in the chat by now that didn't get to see me tie this fly. Let me just zoom that out. So to start this fly, we're going to take some of those pins that we used earlier, wherever I put those. So this is basically just like your standardized pin that you would use for sewing. Nothing fancy. I'm actually going to make sure that's in focus real quick too, before I forget. Hey, thanks for subscribing, Gus. I appreciate that. If you guys are watching and you like fishing, consider subscribing. I won't let you down. I do a lot of really fun content. Check out my Land of the Bulls video. That's one of my favorite videos I've done so far. It's a trip we went up to Idaho and caught some really nice sized bull trout. We thought we were going to get. We actually followed two people that invited us to go to this spot that they found. And they actually led us all the way to their house in like the middle of nowhere and locked a gate behind us. And we're like, oh crap, these guys are going to kill us. But they were actually really nice and showed us an awesome fishing spot. And so we've actually been in contact with them since, and we're going to go back up this year and fish that same spot. I caught one of my biggest bull trout I've ever caught in that spot. Okay, so we're going to start in the middle, wrap our way back to get our thread started. Let's make sure I'm caught up on all the comments. Redfish on the fly, Gus, is something I really do want to do. Congrats on starting fly fishing last year. Don't quit, because it is a lot of fun. It takes a second to learn, but stick with it and you will enjoy it, I promise. I'm not sure what you're asking for on the tutorial. A mullet fly pattern. I'm doing more stillwater fly patterns. That's kind of the theme of this video, but maybe I'll do that in the future. Yeah, if you have any questions on fly tying, ask away. And saltwater, fly fishing, good book to read is Legendary Lefty Cray. I'll check it out. Hey, thanks for watching, Tate. Tate Russell's actually the guy I did that trip with when we almost got murdered, but then turns out the guy was just super cool and showed us a cool spot on his property. I was just telling him about that story, Tate. Okay, so now we got that on. We're going to take our pin with our bead. Oh man, I got an extra bead here with a pin. Don't want to lose that. Okay. So we're going to take our sewing pin right there, and we're going to clip it to the size we want. Just about right there. I think I actually already did this part and got distracted. That's probably what that pin was I just saw, but I put the wrong size bead on it, so we'll get the right size on this time. We're going to use a little bit bigger for this fly since it's such a big hook. We're going to use that bead right there. I will definitely give redfish a try someday. That's on my bucket list. Hopefully this YouTube channel can take off and help fund some trips to go chase some of those more out-of-the-way species of species of fish. That'd be pretty cool. I want to do an Alaskan trip too. That'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, haven't had an opportunity to go down for redfish yet. But that is on my bucket list. And we'll just size that up. We want this to be nice and balanced. So I'm going to work it forward a little bit more. I might take some of those wraps off so it slides a bit better. And we'll tie a little knot on there. Alright, thanks for watching Hockey Life. What's up, Dawson? How's it going, bro? Okay, we're going to pop that off real quick. And we're just going to make sure it's balanced. So we'll take a separate piece of thread. If you're new to fly fishing, my best advice is fish streamers on a river, and that will really get you good at casting. And you'll still have a high chance of catching a fish on a streamer, and you won't get tangled like you will on a nymph rig. That's honestly what helped me learn the most. Oh yeah, look at that. Perfectly balanced first try. So now that we've got it balanced, we can crank on that and make sure it doesn't go nowhere. And then the other tip I got too for fly fishing, if you guys are new, is don't change flies like every 5 minutes. Like, tie on a fly that a fly shop recommends or a fly that you know will work in the area, and just fish it until you catch a fish. Most people starting out waste all their time because they're changing flies so much. It's usually not the fly, it's usually where you're throwing it or how you're throwing the fly. It's all about the technique and the presentation when it comes to fly fishing. I would say it's about 20% the fly, 80% the technique. Okay, now we're going to add on some marabou. So let's get some of that on there. Yeah, no problem, Splash. Splash RL. Okay, we might have to tie 2 of these on. But there's the first one. We're going to size this up so it's the same length as the body. Maybe just a tad longer. We'll do a loose wrap, another loose wrap, and then we tighten that down so it's right on top. Then we're going to work that back. And then, yeah, we're going to tie on another piece just to make that tail a little bit bigger. Don't need much though. Okay, right there should be good. Thanks, Gus. I'll give that a shot if I ever go out. I live in Utah, so redfish is quite a ways away for me to do that. I'd like to do an Alaskan trip first before I go after redfish, just because never actually caught a fish in Alaska yet. It's been on my bucket list. Okay, now we got that on. We're going to split our thread, and then we'll put on our dubbing. Man, this thread is a pain. Alright, we're just going to do a dubbing loop instead of splitting it. This thread's too wound up. That's okay, it works all the same. We'll tie a little knot in there. And we'll stow it out of the way. And then we're going to put that dubbing into this dubbing loop, and we're just keeping it nice and thin. Don't want to go thick on this fly. If you guys are just tuning in, this is a leech pattern that I'm making for fly fishing. This is one of my favorite flies to use on lakes. And we're getting close to where the ice is going to start melting off the lakes here in Utah. So I'm restocking my box with some leeches, getting ready for those days. One of my favorite time to fish lakes is right when the ice comes off. Not all the way off, but when there's like about 20 feet from the bank of open water, because it pushes all those fish to the edge and it makes for some really good fishing. Alright, that should be enough. So then we're just going to start twisting that up. That should be good right there. And we're going to twist that on. Okay. I'll move that out of the way. I'll tie that in. Then we're going to whip finish. Finish off that fly. Clip that. Then we're going to add some of that UV glue in. And then we hit it with the UV light. Okay, now I'm just going to take some Velcro and we're just going to brush that fly out, making sure it's nice and puffy. There we go. We'll zoom that out a little bit. Make sure that's in focus. There you have it. There's a balanced leech. If you guys want to check out the vise I'm using to tie these flies, it's the Nirvana V2 vise. This guy right here. Sold. Sorry, I lost tongue twisted. This is sold on Moonlit Fly Fishing's website. If you guys watch any of my full videos related to fly tying, I have a discount link below for this vise. It might be linked with this live stream. It's kind of weird. I'm not exactly sure if I can link stuff like that in the live stream, so it might not work. If it doesn't, just check it out on my full videos, and that link will save you 15% off at checkout. Okay. Let's see. What's our camera battery life doing? Okay, we got 24%. We got time to tie a couple more flies. Maybe we'll tie another one of those midges. I think what we'll do is we'll tie a midge, but maybe we'll add a little bit to the front of it to kind of make it look like there's a bug coming out of its in that mid stage. All right, let's make sure we got this focused. We can get a little closer on this fly. It's a lot smaller. Okay. So start by just adding on a thread base, wrapping it to the back. And then we're going to take our silver wire. And we're just going to tie that in. We'll work our thread all the way back into the front. And we're just building up a little bit of body to this fly. Let's see, is this frozen? Uh-oh. I think we lost connection from the camera. Give me 1 sec, I'm going to fix this real fast. Okay. We're back in business. Sorry that cut out, I'm not sure why. Sometimes live streaming can be a little fidgety sometimes. Alright. That should be... Maybe I'll get a little bit more bulk to that body. That should be good right there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add in some... Give me 1 sec. We're going to add in some flash. I'm going to add in a little bit more this time so it's a little thicker on the top. Then we'll just put that to the side for right now. And we're just going to wrap that body. Clip on our hackle pliers. And we're just going to make nice, even wraps. Okay. Then we're going to add on that flash. So make sure that's all trimmed up to length. I'm going to tie that right on top. Tie that in about right there. Okay, then we'll take some of our peacock curl. And we're going to tie that in. I like to snip some of the thinner parts of that peacock curl off, just so it doesn't break as easy. We're going to angle this hook up a little bit for this part so the thread doesn't fall off so easily. If any of you guys watch and have any questions, drop it in the comments. I'd be more than happy to answer them. Okay, right there should be good. So we'll just twist that, we'll wrap it. I was going to add on some of this like white chenille to the front of it, but I'm honestly not sure where that's at. I don't want to waste the time trying to find it. So we'll save that for another day. Okay. And then we'll fold over our flash. Make sure it's all together this time. take our whip finish tool. And we'll just build up a little bit of a head right there. Tie that down. Let's see. Start with 13. I've been tying for about 10 years now. But on and off, you know, I went through phases where I was like, I started off like when I was in junior high getting really big into fly fishing. But then I kind of stopped for a few years because I started getting into rock climbing, and then I got into paragliding. And then I'm now just kind of, in the past couple years, I've kind of started fly fishing a lot more again. And yeah, it's been pretty fun. Thanks for the comment, Amaya. It doesn't take too long to get into fly fishing though. If this is something you guys are looking to do, I mean, it's all the information's online, and it is a lot of fun. I never really took any classes for this stuff. I learned all of this off YouTube when I was a kid. YouTube certified. Okay, we'll hit that with the UV light, and that just kind of cures it. I let that glue soak into that thread a little bit. The cool thing about this glue is it doesn't dry until it gets hit with a UV light. Okay, there it is. All right. Now let's see what our battery's at. We're at 14%. I think we got time to tie one more. So I think we're going to use the same hook. At the start of the video, I tied one of these snow cone flies, and I tied it on a straight hook. I think I'm going to do the same fly, but I'm going to do it on a curved hook, just like that last pattern. So this is a very similar pattern, but it uses a white bead and red wire for it. Okay, make sure that's focused. All right, we'll use black thread again. Start in the front, and we're just working our way to the back. This is a very, very simple fly, and it's very effective. And then we're going to take some red wire. I'm doing good today, Country Crazy 13. Thanks for asking. How are you doing? Okay, we're just going to start building the body up for this fly. So just laying that thread on there nice and thick. Building a little bit of a taper so it's thicker in the front and a little skinnier in the back. I want to make it thick enough that it kind of locks that cone into place. I'll put a little knot in there. Store our thread out of the way. I think I might put one more and just get it towards the front a little bit more. Right now we're just trying to get even wraps, working it all the way to the front of the hook. Might start those, make those a little bit tighter. Okay. Just like that. We'll wrap it around a couple times, then we'll secure that wire. Now we're just going to whip finish, and then we'll hit it with the UV glue. We're just going to coat that whole body in this UV glue. Okay. And I think what we'll do is we'll point that down just a tad. Let that glue kind of build up on the front. And then we'll cure it. Once we hit it with this UV light, that dries all that glue up instantly. Okay. And there we have it. Alright, we have 7% battery life. Let's see, maybe we could squeeze one more in. I think what we'll do is we'll fix up this fly right here. This thing is torn up. It has definitely seen better days. Let me zoom this out and get this focused. So I was fishing this one a couple weekends ago and caught a ton of fish on it, and it just got shredded. I'm not sure what I hooked on it, but I had something hit it that it just took off running, and the hook popped out and I lost the fish, and to this day I wonder what it was. There are tiger muskie in this lake, which I doubt that's what it was this early in the season, but you never know. So we're just going to take a razor blade to it. And take all that off. Okay, we got 5% battery life to tie this fly. Ooh, I just hooked myself. Ouch. It got to me good. Alright. I'm going to swap the bead out for a new bead, just since it's kind of torn up. And I am really going to rush on this fly so my battery doesn't die. So if you see me going really fast, that is why. Okay. Make sure that's all centered. I'll make sure that's focused. Okay. Let's do it. First I need to find some white rabbit strip. We'll use some of this stuff too. There is a chance I actually might be out of this white rabbit strip. And that would not be good. them somewhere. Aha. I found it. Okay, we got 3% to finish this. You guys think I can do it? Alright, I'm going to start this fly. We're going to start wrapping it all the way to the front of the hook. And we'll take our scissors, wherever I put those. We'll trim that off. Take our rabbit strip, size it up to where we want it. I'm going to tie it in about right there. I'll leave it long because I can always cut it short later if I want to. Call that good. Tighten that down. Get that out of the way. Now we're going to tie in our chenille. So just some long fibered chenille. Alright, we're on 1%. I apologize, guys. I don't know if we're going to make it. Camera might cut out. I'm going as fast as I can. We're just working that way all the way to the front of the hook. And as I'm doing, I'm kind of fluffing up these fibers, making sure nothing's trapped in the way. Okay. We'll tie that down. Snip that off. Fluff everything down. Fold over the rabbit strip. Open up a spot to tie in at. Do one loose wrap, another loose wrap. Tighten that down. A couple more to secure it. And then the rest in front to lock it in. We'll trim that off. Make sure it's tied in. Then we're going to do a dubbing loop. We're going to snip off a little bit of this rabbit strip. We're going to tie it, put it through the dubbing loop. And then we're just going to trim that off with the scissors. Take that leather off while leaving the rabbit strip between the thread. Alright, we're at 0%, so camera could cut out any time now. But I'm almost done. Wrap that on the front. This is going to be an ugly pattern because I'm rushing it so much. We'll tie that off. Snip that. Get the excess out of here. Okay, now we just gotta whip finish it. Hit it with a little bit of UV glue. And boom. Finished it just in time. Not very pretty fly. Usually you'd want the fibers a little longer on that, but it'll still catch a fish, and I was racing the time. But having these chartreuse beads right here on a white fly, this is a great streamer for when the ice comes off the water. I was actually using this just recently. One of the local lakes ice has been melting a lot faster and already has some open water on the banks, and so I was having a lot of luck on this fly. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. If you guys want to check out more of my content too, I've got a lot of fun videos on my channel. Check them out. Really